All right, good evening. This is the annual meeting of 4 meetings. We have 4 meetings this evening. To begin with, we'll have the Urban Renewal District Budget Committee, followed by the City Budget Committee. And then we'll go to a regular session for the Urban Renewal District. And finally, a City Council regular session. And after that, we have an executive session, so it's a full night. All of these meetings are being broadcast through the city's scheduled Charter Communications channel, 180, and also on Eastern Oregon Live TV Facebook page. So with that, I will call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call, please.
Greg Gamer is absent, excused. Matt Barber.
Here.
Steve Clements.
Here.
Corinne Dudo.
Sorry.
Got her. Ed Henninger.
Here.
Nicole Howard.
Here.
Gary Lillard.
Here.
Scott McConnell is absent, excused. Marianne Meisner.
Here.
Ashley O'Toole.
Here.
Justin Rock is absent, excused. Jim Whitbeck.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
All right. So do we need to do Pledge of Allegiance, or do we want to move through this?
Your call.
Since we're all in sort of an awkward position and not everyone has flags, we'll skip this formality until we're all in the same room together. This is a meeting of the Urban Renewal District Budget Committee, and for the purposes of really for the purpose of approving the minutes from our April 27th meeting where we did the budget there. So we have one item, and that's a consent agenda, and I will entertain a motion on that consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All right,
Gary Lillard with the second to Marianne's motion.
right. Any conversation or discussion on that? Otherwise, do a roll call vote, please.
Matt Barber.
Yes.
Steve Clements.
Yes.
Corinne Dudo.
Yes.
Ed Henninger.
Yes.
Nicole Howard.
Yes.
Gary Lillard.
Yes.
Marianne Meisner.
Yes.
Ashley O'Toole.
Yes.
And Jim went back, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Passes
All right.
unanimously.
Looks like it passes unanimously. I will adjourn the Urban Renewal District Budget Committee and go to the City of Legrand Budget Committee regular session and ask for a roll call, please.
Greg Gamer is absent, excused. Matt Barber.
Here.
Steve Clements.
Here.
Corinne Dudo.
Here.
Ed Henninger.
Here.
Nicole Howard.
Here.
Gary Lillard.
Here.
Scott McConnell is absent, excused. Marianne Meisner.
Here.
Ashley O'Toole.
Here.
Justin Rock is absent, excused. Jim Whitbeck.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. So all members of this committee are participating the regular session via electronic communication. Eventually, for everyone out there, we'll get back to normal sessions. Purpose of this meeting this evening is to consider approving the minutes for the the April 27th, 28th City Council or City General Enterprise and Other Funds budget hearings. We have one item as a consent agenda, and I will entertain a motion for acceptance of that consent agenda.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second. I'll second.
Who was
All
the
right.
second? Was that you, Matt?
Either Matt or
I did. I think
Ashley.
somebody else did at the same time.
Okay.
All right. If there's no discussion, then I'll ask for a roll call vote on this, please.
Matt Barber,
Yes.
Steve Clements,
Yes?
Corinne Dudo,
Yes.
Ed Henninger,
Yes.
Nicole Howard,
Sorry, yes.
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Mary Ann Meisner,
Yes.
Ashley O'Toole,
Yes.
Jim Whitbeck.
Yes.
All right.
Passes unanimously.
Yeah. Minutes are accepted. So I will adjourn this meeting, and for members of the Urban Renewal District Budget Committee and city budget, if you care to, you are welcome to spend the rest of your evening doing something else, because we're now moving into regular sessions for the Urban Renewal District and the City Council. And if you want to hang out, that'd be wonderful. But your duty for the year is done, and we appreciate all the time you spent with us. All right. So we're adjourned for the City Council, the City Budget Budget Committee, and I will call to order the Urban Renewal Agency regular session, and say that, yep, we're all being broadcast electronically. And I will ask for a roll call, please.
Steve Clements,
Yes?
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Corinne Dudo,
I'm here.
Nicole Howard,
Yes.
Mary Ann Meisner,
Yes. Are here.
Justin Rock is absent, excused. Jim Whitbeck.
Yes.
Okay, you have a quorum.
All right. All members of the agency are participating electronically. We have a couple of elements. We have a consent agenda, which includes approval of the regular session meetings from April 1 and accepting Exhibit A for fiscal year 2020-2021, which is an intergovernmental agreement between the Urban Renewal Agency and the City of Legrand. So I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
I move that the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Any comments, discussion?
Was that Nicole or Corinne on the second? Got it, Nicole. Thank you.
Nicole. All right, I'll call for a roll call vote, please.
Steve Clements,
Yes.
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Corinne Dudo,
Yes.
Nicole Howard,
Yes.
Mary Ann Meisner,
Yes.
Jim Whitbeck.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Robert, did we receive any public comments or?
We did not, Mayor. We didn't receive any public comments on either the urban renewal budget or the city's budgets, and I'll mention that again when we get to the city's hearing. So,
Okay, so we now have a public hearing, and that public hearing, give me a second to get my notes there. This is a public hearing is open on the fiscal year 2020-2021 Urban Renewal District budget as approved by the Urban Renewal District Budget Committee on April 27th, 2020. We don't need to read anything for this. We just go to staff report.
Mayor, you need to announce that the public hearing is open. So if
I
you would
just
go
did.
to that. Oh, I was looking at something else.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the agency. The Urban Renewal Agency's Budget Committee met and have approved the fiscal year budget and forwarded it to the agency for adoption. Essentially, the urban renewal budget is consistent with the current year. We're maintaining our core economic development programs. We're carrying forward some funds for existing ongoing projects from call for projects into the next fiscal year. We are continuing with the call for projects in the approved budget, where we are doing an under levy of urban renewal that provides funding to the city's general fund and other taxing jurisdictions without jeopardizing the core urban renewal programs. We are not making any adjustments to this budget based on the COVID-19 situation. And one of the major projects that's going to span 2 fiscal years is currently underway is the tail end of the streetscape project over around the SAC Annex parking lot, which is using up the remainder of the bond funding that we did for the Adams Avenue streetscape. And as the agency is very familiar with this budget, I will stop there and answer any questions you may have.
Questions for agency manager? All right. We have no public testimony on this. Is that correct?
That's correct. No one submitted anything.
So I will close the public hearing on the fiscal year 2020 Urban Renewal District budget. Invite discussion and or a motion. No discussion? How about a motion then?
I move we accept the, is it the consent agenda?
No, we're in item 5A.
Next one. Sorry. I move that the proposed resolution adopting the fiscal year 2020-2021 Urban Renewal District budget be read by title only, put to a vote, and passed.
Second.
Okay, so we have Marianne as Corinne first and Marianne as a second. Additional comments or anything? It's nice to see that we have a budget that we're continuing the process, continuing the economic development that we've had over the last few years. I also like the idea that we're being able to put something back into the general fund and other taxing districts. So could I have a reading of the proposed resolution by title only?
I'll go ahead and do that. A resolution of the City of Legrand Urban Renewal Agency of the City of Legrand, Union County, Oregon, adopting the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget, making appropriation and levying taxes.
All right. We've got a reading of the resolution, and we have a motion to accept the budget. All those, roll call vote, please.
Steve Clements,
Yes.
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Corinne Dudo,
Yes.
Nicole Howard,
Yes.
Marianne Miesner,
Yes.
Justin Rock is absent. Excused. Jim Whitbeck.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Let me look very quickly, make sure I'm on task here. All right. We have no unfinished business. We have no new business. District manager comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the agency. Just one, we have received some applications for this year's call for projects. Those are being reviewed. I think that 2 of the submissions had already been deemed complete and received permission at their own risk to start their projects. And I know that the remaining ones, Christine is working with the applicants to make sure that those are all complete. So we are in process for the call for projects, and that's all I have.
Okay. Very good. Marianne, any comments?
No, just I'm bored and I'm ready to go start doing something.
Okay. Jim, anything?
Sure. Yeah. I just wanted to thank Chief Bell for his detailed report on the demonstration last night. I was also there for the first part of it, mostly between 4 and 5. And I don't know, I was just really impressed by the crowd and the diversity of the people that were there and how they conducted themselves. Even just all the way down to trying to maintain social distancing, and most of the people were wearing masks and all that good stuff too. So I was really impressed with kind of how our community as a whole conducted itself. And I just wanted to thank Chief Bell for the role that he played in that, even if it was sort of from afar.
Yes. Very good. Yeah, I agree. I was down there too, and people conducted themselves very, very well. And it was interesting. It was good to see Chief Bell's comments and lay out a briefing of what he saw and how he handled things. So very good. Thank you, Jim. Corinne, anything?
I'd like to also thank Chief Bell. I was at the protest later when the man was arrested, and the protesters were being antagonized quite a lot and showed a lot of restraint. Our police officers also demonstrated a lot of calm and kind of stood back, chatted with people, petted their dogs. But were there when they needed to be there and acted when they needed to act. So, and one of the protesters that I spoke with said, you know, we're protesting what happened in Minneapolis, but we really like our police departments. They're a good department. They don't hassle us. You know, sometimes they'll come and tell us to turn down our music, but they don't act inappropriately. So they appreciated their presence and their presence all the time. So
Yes.
it was a good feeling. So
Yes, good. Thank you. Good. Thank you. Gary, anything?
Nothing.
Okay, Nicole?
Quick echo of the other comments. I was down there for a little bit last night, and the individual who was arrested kept video of the incident up to the arrest, and the poise of the police officers was impressive. So that was good to see. I also want to give a quick shout out to Stu for getting the farmers market up and running
Yes.
safely, kind of the appropriate measures. So thanks, Stu. It's something that I think the community is just yearning for, and it's nice to be able to get our hands on some fresh produce and not have that shut down. So I appreciate that. That's
Okay.
it.
Very good. I don't have anything. I will probably make a brief comment when we get to the end of the city council meeting. So I'm going to adjourn the Urban Renewal Agency and just ask Brent very quickly, is this okay just to keep moving through things and this way? Do we need to take any breaks or anything?
No, we're good.
Okay, so I will adjourn Urban Renewal District, make sure I get to the right place. And I will call to order the City Council regular session of June 3rd, 2020, and ask for a roll call, please.
Steve Clements,
Yes?
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Shereen Dudo,
yes.
Nicole Howard,
Yes.
Marianne Miesner.
Yes.
Jason Rock is absent, excused. Jim Whitbeck.
Yes.
You have a
Okay,
quorum.
very good. All councilors are participating in this regular session by electronic communication, and the city of Legrand, where council will meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602D immediately following this meeting for the purpose of discussing labor negotiations, and we will not be coming back to session. So we can move right once I adjourn this session, Brent, then we can stop the live feed, and I'll pause for a little bit while we stop the live feed, and then everybody hang on, and then we'll go into executive session. All right, we have a consent agenda. There are several things on the consent agenda. The first one is a regular session meetings, accepting Exhibit A, which is sort of the counterpart from the Urban Renewal District, approving and authorizing the mayor to sign a joint memorandum of agreement and program of work for the tourism promotion, renewing the agreement for fire department conference center facility services, and that's something with American Red Cross, and finally approval of the special session meetings from the May 19th meeting that we had a few weeks ago. With that, I will ask if anyone wants to pull an item from the consent agenda. If not, we just need a motion.
I don't want to pull it. I just wanted to ask a question about the Red Cross. Is it just a room that they have there at the fire station?
Yes, Marianne, as you walk into the fire station to the right where the city offices are for the fire department, They're the first office on the right, just behind
That's
that
what I
building.
thought.
They've been there for a long time.
That's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. That was
Okay. Any other questions on the consent agenda items? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
All right. Robert, roll call, please.
Steve Clements,
Yes.
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Shereen Dudo,
Yes.
Cole Howard,
Yes.
Mary Ann Meisner,
Yes.
Jim Whitbeck.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Robert, we had no public comments this
We
evening?
did not.
Okay. We have a public hearing, and that's a resolution to adopt the budget and make appropriations, levy taxes, and declare the city's desire to receive state revenue sharing. And with that, I announce that the public hearing is open and ask for a staff report.
Before we do that, I think we have at least one counselor that needs to make a conflict of interest declaration.
Okay.
That'd be me. I am declaring actual conflict of interest. I have an actual conflict of interest for the city's budgets. I have a relative who is an employee of the city and receives salaries and benefits from Public Works. Based on this actual conflict, I'm not going to participate in the discussion or vote on any of the city's budgets.
All right. Thank you for that, Corinne. Now, Robert, staff report.
Thank you. So the city's budget committee met, and the budget that was approved and forwarded to the council, we are asking that there be one change made to it. The change is within the allowable parameters for increasing appropriations that Oregon budget law provides. And it's not something new that we're adding to the budget. It's actually a purchase that was approved and adopted for the current fiscal year for breathing apparatus for the fire department. It's $179,889. We're not going to be able to complete that purchase. The apparatus is not going to be ready before the end of this fiscal year, so we need to move that money into the next fiscal year. So the resolution and the budget that we're asking you to adopt increases the fire department's appropriation by that $179,000 amount. The net impact at the end of the day, at the end of next fiscal year, would put us in exactly the same place as we had purchased them this year. It's simply a timing issue, and it would not be appropriate, since we know that it's not going to be purchased this year, to just pull it out of contingency next year. That's why we're asking that we do make that change in the appropriation. Again, the budget as approved by the budget committee and forwarded to the council for adoption is pretty much a status quo budget. The only change of significance, actually the only change that was made during the budget committee hearing related to increasing the amount of funds in the council manager's budget to deal with potential expenses related to the COVID pandemic. And we essentially reduced the amount of funds that we had identified as reserved for future expenditures and moved those into the budget. What we may or may not use those funds for will be determined next fiscal year during the year. If we need them, there'll be council action as part of that, but it just puts the dollars in a place where we can more readily access them as we need to. So I just wanted to kind of highlight that and be happy to answer any questions that you may have, again, other than that one change that's the budget that the budget committee approved and
Okay.
asked that you adopt.
Okay. Questions for Robert on the budget? Okay. And again, no public testimony, Robert?
No.
Okay. I will close the public hearing on the fiscal year 2020-2021 City of Legrand budgets and state revenue sharing. Council discussion or comments? If not, a motion.
I move that the proposed resolution adopting the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget and levying taxes be read by title only, put to a vote, and passed as amended.
Need a second?
Second.
All right, Gary seconded.
And just to clarify, the as amended portion reflects the change in the amounts from what the budget committee had approved.
Yes,
So
yes.
and those are reflected on the resolution.
In the fire department budget,
Fire
correct?
Department budget.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion, no more, any other additional comments or discussion? If not, I'll ask for a reading of the proposed resolution by title only, please.
The resolution of the City Council of the City of Legrand, Union County, Oregon, adopting the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget, making appropriations and levying taxes.
All right. With that, I'll ask for roll call vote, please.
Steve Clements,
Yes?
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Corinne Dudo is abstaining, Nicole Howard,
Yes.
Marianne Miesner,
Yes.
Jim Whitbeck.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, now we need a second motion on this, which is, let's see, the proposal to receive state revenues. Now, do we need a reading of that title, Robert?
You do.
All right, so I'll take a motion first.
I move that the proposed resolution electing to receive state revenue be read by title only, put to a vote, and passed.
Second.
Looks like Mary Ann's got a second.
Yep.
All right, could I have a reading of that resolution by title, please?
Resolution of the City Council of the City of Legrand, Union County, Oregon, declaring the city's intent to receive state revenues.
All right, we've got a motion and a reading of the title. All those in favor will say yes or no when we do a roll call.
Steve Clements,
Yes?
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Corinne Dudo.
Doesn't she have to, does she
Yeah,
have?
I think she abstains from that one.
Okay.
Nicole Howard, Marianne Miesner. Marianne,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
okay, it's fine. I didn't hear you. Jim Whitbeck,
Yes.
thank you.
All right, moving on then. We have no unfinished business. We have one item of new business, which is to consider a resolution to initiate vacation proceedings and establishing a public hearing date. I believe this is for Mike Boquist. So Mike, come on live here.
I'm here. Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So does everybody have the map in front of them that's on the CAF? And so this request was initiated by a property owner to the west of Pioneer Park, the Jonathan Rankin property. And the city has partnered with that applicant in this right-of-way vacation. This is a subdivision plat. This is a subdivision plat that was platted in, was it 1891? And then there was a modification made in 1896 where the streets that are highlighted in yellow were vacated as part of that 1896 plat. So the streets that are still in that salmon color, for whatever reason, were not vacated and have been, streets of record since that time. And the portions that are on the Rankin property are really impeding future development plans or conceptual ideas for that property. On the City of Legrand's Pioneer Park property, most of those salmon colored areas are areas where structures have been built over the top of. So the city pool sits on top of one of these platted alleys. The park shop sits on top of an alley The skate park is built over some of the streets. The church that's actually on the corner, all that's the former armory property that sits on top of an alley. And so going through this effort, our intent is to clean the map up, vacate the rest of these streets in order to resolve the encroachments that exist. And Jonathan Rankin actually took the vacation petition, acquired all the necessary signatures. And so at this point, we have a valid application. And your decision tonight is strictly limited to accepting the application and authorizing it to be processed. And with your approval, I'll then proceed with the Planning Commission public hearing for a recommendation and bring this back to you in about 2 months. Do you have any questions?
Questions for Mike? I have no questions. It's just curious that those roads have been there for over 120 years, right? And,
Yep.
and stuff got built over the top, including a park got built over the top of them, and the city didn't vacate them at that time. So quite interesting how processes do evolve.
Paper roads, not real roads.
What's that?
Paper roads, not real roads.
Yeah, paper roads, right. No public testimony, I'm assuming. Council comments or discussions on this? Seems to me just sort of a rubber stamp kind of thing to get the process in motion. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So if there's no discussion, no comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the proposed.
I move that the proposed, go ahead.
Go ahead, Marianne.
I move that the proposed resolution initiating vacation proceedings and establish a public hearing date be read by title only and put to a vote and passed.
A second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. If any additional discussion? If not, I'll ask for a reading of the proposed resolution by title together with the portion of the resolution establishing a public hearing date.
It's a relatively long one, so please bear with me.
Yes.
The resolution of the City Council of the City of Legrand, Union County, Oregon, accepting a petition for the vacation of Douglas Street between Walnut Street and Oak Street, Jerome Street, Jerry Street, west of West Street, Jerome Street, Jerry Street, between Walnut Street and Cedar Street, Julia Street, west of West Street, Julia Street, between Walnut Street and Cedar Street, Walnut Street between Palmer Avenue, Division Street, and Z Avenue, Oak Street between Palmer Avenue, Division Street, and Douglas Street, and the entirety of all alleys within blocks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, all within amended plat of Gangloff addition to the City of Legrand, Union County, Oregon, according to the recorded plat of said addition, and establishing a public hearing date.
All right, that is a long one. We've had a reading of the resolution and we've got public hearing date established. I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Steve Clements,
Yes?
Gary Lillard,
Yes.
Corinne Dudo,
Yes.
Nicole Howard,
Yes.
Marianne Miesner,
Yes.
Jim Whitbeck.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. That concludes the active part of our meeting. We have just a few other things. Staff comments left? No staff comments? They're all lurking in the background. I know they're there.
Pick me. I'll do one.
Hey. Hey,
Are you
Stu.
ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey guys, just a couple of things since they're high profile. One is Morgan Lake. There's been some concern why there's no camp host there. Plain and simple, our first camp host recruitment didn't work. So there was a snafu in the recruitment process there that we couldn't avoid. So that there'll be a camp host up there Monday, starting Monday. The other reason for that was the governor gave us 1 day notice last time. So by the time we get geared up, get somebody over here, that takes time. The other one, a couple more. There was some guidance that came out today about pools. Actually, the Twitter picture that I saw from the governor's office says, what opens, and one of the things says pools. So there might be a lot of questions about why the pool isn't open yet. Same thing, you can't just turn on a pool and open it to the public, especially with all the protocols. We are ready and geared up. However, we have to reset the chemicals, make sure that they're squared away. They're asking us to flush water completely through before we do that. Also, staffing. All of our staff are laid off except for Teresa, the superintendent. So obviously we have to get everybody back in and scheduled and before we can open the pool. Our original plan was June 29th. That was my best guess from the governor's office that it might be phase 3, which would have been 3 weeks after phase 2, right, on Friday. So that's the reason the pool's not going to open. We're going to try to open before June 29th, but that is the tentative plan. Also, that guidance, the governor had no advice on playgrounds. Almost every call we get includes, is Morgan Lake open or are playgrounds open? So unfortunately, we are waiting on guidance for playgrounds. So that's any questions about that. I just wanted to kind of throw out, those are really, really common questions for us, and I'm sure for you all as well.
Yep. Thank you, Stu. I was the one who posted a question about the Morgan Lake host. Maybe others did. The other thing you might comment on is the story plaques along the Riverside Trail. If anybody's been out there, there's going to be a story along the trail, so people will be able to use that, have sort of a little entertainment. Where'd you go to, Stu?
Sorry, it's about to get loud in here. Sorry, hang on a second. It's chaos because my wife is walking in the door and the dog's about ready to go nuts. So this is a cool thing. It's okay. I'm back. Here we go. So the story, it's called the Story Walk. It's the brainchild of the library, Carrie Bushman. It's her brainchild. Basically, it's a series of 20 posts that are being installed on the Greenway Trail that'll have glass covers, and there'll be story pages installed in each of them. And what's cool about that is as you walk down the trail, you start at the beginning of the story and you walk and read the story as you walk to the conclusion at the end. So if you start on the wrong side, spoiler alert, you'll get the end first, but it'll start at the park side and then go down. So it's been a great partnership. Carrie worked really hard to get sponsorship money to pay for all that. And Kip can comment on it some more if he wants to, if he's on. Maybe I don't see him on, but anyway, it's going to be a cool addition. That's kind of in the middle. It'll be in the newspaper and all that. It's in the middle of being installed.
Another one of those great reasons why that whole trail should go all the way out. It would. We were out there the other day and trying to pass along the trail on a bike, and it was hard because there were so many walkers out there, which is really, really good. All right, thank you, Stu. Appreciate it.
Mayor, if I could, did you mention the proclamation?
I will get to that during council comments.
Perfect. And just a comment on the playground opening. I participate in a weekly call with League of Oregon Cities, and there's always a representative from the governor's office and Oregon Health Authority. And they specifically talked about the fact that the intent currently is to keep the playgrounds closed because of the challenges with keeping them clean and disinfected. So it's a very specific intent at the present time to keep them closed.
That's interesting because I've seen some credible research on the natural sanitation effect of sun, and since the playground equipment is outside, it's like minutes that the equipment goes from being infected to being cleansed. So I'm wondering why they're waiting so long to open that up, because it seems pretty reasonable to me that the equipment wouldn't be, unless you've got a crowd of kids there and they're all from different places. Maybe that's the concern.
Well, Mayor, I'm pretty sure that they don't have a lot of sun on the west side. That's where most
Well,
of the people
that
are.
is a factor, yes, but here we don't have to worry about, well, lately we haven't had to worry about it. Anything
know
else,
what it
Robert?
I'll have some stuff when we get to me.
Okay,
I just wanted to interject that about the thing with Parks and Rec while we were there.
okay. I'm just going to take a moment here to say that we,
Hey, Steve,
yes,
I think the chief is raising his hand.
is he? Okay, go ahead, Chief.
Thank you. I just had a couple things I'd like to share with you guys. The first is, if you didn't catch it, the COVID-19 incident management team that we had stood up several months ago, we turned the incident back over to public health on Tuesday after our command staff meeting. And I just wanted to share with you guys that we had a number of City of Legrand staff members that represented us on that team, and they did a fantastic job, and it was a really wonderful collaborative effort. So I just wanted to share with you guys that we have stood that team down, but it's really in a standby mode. We hope that we don't have to stand it back up if things take a turn for the worse, but we're poised to do that if we need to. The second thing I just wanted to share with you guys was that it's very meaningful to me that you guys are expressing your support for our police department and the staff here. And I'm anxious to pass that on to our officers. I know it will be very meaningful to them. You guys know all this, but I think it's worth stating that our officers are community members, and they happen to be police officers for their employment, but they're, sons and daughters and fathers and coaches and volunteers, and they genuinely are members of our community, and the support locally means a great deal to them, and it does to me. So I sincerely appreciate you guys expressing your support for our staff here at the police department. So thank you. I really do appreciate it.
What's interesting, Chief, is that I read your report. I was at the rally last night between 4 and 5. I didn't even realize the police officers were around. That's how quiet they were, and they were there watching and monitoring, and they did a great job. And we really do appreciate having the officers that we have. So pass along the council's approval, I guess that would be appreciated. Any other staff members? I see a number of them now. I had my view on just the speaker, so I could be kind of looking at the camera, but no other comments. All right, I'll take a moment and say we've got a proclamation designating July as Parks and Rec Month. And it's a pretty lengthy proclamation. I just want to let people know that now with some of the reopening opportunities that people can get out and enjoy our parks, it's appropriate that it is in July, and hopefully things will be open a little bit more.
Mayor,
Hey, Steve, you want to hear Robert first?
skip the city manager.
Oh,
Right
did
from
I?
staff to Steve. I know, right?
I thought that you had.
No, I said I'd have more later.
Oh, okay. Go ahead then.
So I don't want us to go out of sequence. It really screws up the minutes. Stacy will be all confused.
Oh,
Sorry.
all right.
Because I actually did have some things.
Okay, manager.
I had sent out an email to the council just giving you a heads up that I was going to ask you about something, which is the funding for Legrand Main Street downtown. One of the provisions in the agreement that we have is that their funding is kind of tied to their ability to raise $25,000 or more towards their budget. And their major fundraiser being Beer Fest, and with the current situation, my position recommendation is that we do not penalize Legrand Main Street downtown because of the circumstances, and convey to them that they can count on the $25,000 of funding that the city provides. Unless the council has objection, I'll go ahead and convey that. But I think it's important. It's an important organization to us, and I don't think that it would be appropriate for us not to continue to partner with them. So any questions or concerns on that?
I think it sounds reasonable.
I do want to just list or mention that since I'm on the organization, or chair of the organization, which is the fundraising piece, that we are going to be trying to do some fundraising. Obviously, the Beer Fest has been canceled, which is the main fundraiser, but we're trying to do some other ones to help alleviate that issue, and that we can maybe show some matching funds.
Good. Thanks for that, Marianne. Appreciate it. And I have no comments. I think it's appropriate to waive that this year. There's a lot of unusual things this year that we've had to kind of negotiate around, and I think this is just another one of them. So.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. We did do the bid openings for the library roof. They did come in at under what we have budgeted. The timing of that did not allow us to put it on the agenda this evening. Depending upon scheduling, what I may do is go ahead and award that, and then have the city council just ratify that at your July meeting. It's a budgeted item. We went through the formal bid process, but I did want to make you aware that just so as not to delay construction, I may go ahead and do that. I don't think there's a need to have a special meeting because, again, it's a budgeted thing. Everybody's well aware of it. So if I do opt to do that, I'll certainly let you know. And then the last thing I just wanted to touch on is I did provide to the council the information from the various departments on the efforts that we're taking in advance of, in an anticipation of reopening city facilities. Safety of the community and staff is paramount in that. And we're going to make sure that we have everything necessary in place to abide by the guidelines for social distancing and protection of everyone. And so if you have any questions of kind of what we're looking at, please let me know. We don't have a specific date when we're doing it. The other thing that we are continuing to do is the suspension of the parking, the 2-hour parking in the downtown. We don't think we should be asking people to move their vehicles. When we do transition back to parking enforcement, we'll make sure to do a good job of getting the word out on that. Probably do some warnings at the front end of that. But as it stands right now, we're kind of in the holding pattern status quo as things progress. And as we're able to open things, we will do that, and we'll make sure that the word gets out. So that's all I had, Mayor.
Have we considered changing that to 3 hours?
Are you talking about just as a temporary situation?
No, long term. I mean, it's impossible to do lunch and a matinee in 2 hours.
Yeah, the short answer is it's a standing task for Legrand Main Street downtown to come forward with kind of a unified recommendation of the business community regarding changes in the parking requirement. And I know they've done some parking surveys. There's been a lot of discussion about it. We don't have a specific recommendation from them. And please keep in mind, it's not a simple thing to go from 2-hour parking to 3-hour. There's a significant cost impact related to signage that would go with that. And I think that, I literally, the first meeting I ever went to in Legrand over in the basement of Mamacita's, it was actually the weekend before I started. I think it was Legrand Downtown Development at the time. The issue of downtown parking came up 2 hours is not long enough, 2 hours is too long, 3 hours. And we've never been able to get a kind of a unified consensus of what it should be. So the council has essentially put that in the lap of the Grand Main Street downtown to sort something out. And so we'll kind of wait and see. So long answer to your short question.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the movie and a meal and haircut and colored and some other shopping, picking up some a backpack from Jim's place. You can't do that at the same time. So
It's just a matter of, I hate to say this, but one of the things that I think we hear most often is we really don't have a parking problem, we have a walking problem. Because if I park at Walmart in the farthest spot, I guarantee you I'm walking farther to the door than I'm walking from the non-2-hour parking to any of our businesses downtown.
mhm.
The same.
I like to go downtown and walk and hit a lot of different things. So if you can park in one place and not have to move, it's nice.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't think there's any parking restrictions on Sunday. You can always do that on Sunday. Go to the movie, I mean, and lunch.
I think one of the things around that, Corinne, for business owners is that it does take up customer spots that other customers might want to use,
Right.
by having more people in there longer. So I was involved in some of the parking survey work that Main Street did, and I mean, you have a pretty wide breadth there of, you know, residents wanting to be able to park 24 hours free, business owners wanting to park 24 hours free, business employees, same thing. And you have a lot of competing interests. And I will say, just as a business owner myself, I like the idea of well, maintaining a focus on the customer, basically. So I think 3 hours, I definitely understand your point, but it also helps, having 2 hours also helps us to keep people moving, I think, too. So it's just a thought.
Yeah. Yep.
Good stuff. Parking has been a perennial issue for 30 years. And it's probably
so amusing. You know, I've lived in San Francisco before, so our little parking problems are just amusing.
Yes. Yes. All right. Marianne, any comments?
No, I have a question though. Do we know for sure, have we been approved for the phase 2? I haven't been able to find anything that says Legrand was approved or Union County. I guess it was Union and Wallowa counties.
I haven't heard anything. What they said on the Monday update from the county was that they were expecting that the governor's office was going to get something out late today, tomorrow at the latest.
I have heard that they have approved 31 counties for phase 2. I am not sure that Union County is on that list, but I would guess probably so.
Well,
I think there's a reopening website, Oregon, I don't know what it's called, but they mentioned a reopening Oregon or Oregon reopening webpage that would have them listed.
Okay, because I was just thinking, because I saw that too, that Kate Brown had announced that 31 counties were approved, but I thought maybe somebody might have heard whether Wallowa and Union counties were one of them.
Good
I
question.
can take a look after this and I'll email out something.
Okay,
Thanks,
you.
Robin. Jim, any comments?
Nothing from me, no, thanks.
Okay. Kareen?
No.
Gary?
Yes, I have 2 things. Thank you. First of all, would like to congratulate our high school seniors who had their graduation ceremony on Saturday. And I think congratulations also to the school district themselves for putting that whole thing together. It was really quite something. I was fortunate enough that the procession of automobiles came by my residence, so I was able to sit out there and watch the decorated cars and the announcements of the students. I don't know how they got all those cars in alphabetical order, but they unfortunate that, you know, the circumstances exist that made this necessary, but it's certainly going to be memorable. I don't think those folks will ever forget that one. So that was good to see. Second thing I wanted to bring up was the Senior Council for Community Connections had a virtual meeting this past Friday, and there was some kind of interesting information that I thought I would share. They were really very moved by the increase they've seen in volunteerism to help seniors and others during this time. Their meal site, of course, has been closed throughout this, and they're also choosing not to bring back any other activities that may potentially be approved because of the extremely high risk nature of their clientele. So you're not going to see that opening up anytime soon, but they have been doing a number of other things to assist. For instance, they've seen their Meals on Wheels program increase in use by about a third. They've also been providing meals to go takeout basis from the senior center. They're across from CHD, and they reported that since this whole thing has started, they have provided, 3,000 meals to go.
Oh, wow.
So they've been doing some pretty good work. Another interesting thing, food bank, they've been trying to expand that for a while, and they are currently in the process of purchasing the large building at the north end of the PGG property out there in Island City, and eventually propose that to be their food bank site, probably looking at the first of 2021 before that will actually be in place, but they have it moving in that direction. And I guess the last thing I wanted to mention is that they, through donations and so forth, they have about $5,000 available for seniors who are having trouble getting pet food for their dogs and cats and so forth. So I thought I would mention that and get that out. Again, it's obviously for seniors, somebody who qualifies for their services, but that's a pretty nice touch too. So anyway, a lot going out there that I thought was worth sharing.
Yes, very good. Thanks for sharing all those things about that. Nice to see that volunteerism is up and people are being served. So I
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can I interrupt? Gary, you said something about the food bank. I missed that. Can you repeat that for me? Because it's currently right outside my office. So I'm wondering if they're, moving, or can you repeat that part?
Yeah, I don't really have information on, what part is moving, if anything is moving, or if they're expanding. I think I know there's a food bank across from the Greyhound bus depot in that area as well. I don't know if they're planning on closing them down and moving them, or if this is just an addition, but it seems clear that the biggest one is eventually going to be out there at that PGG site.
Okay. Does that do it, Stu? Okay. Excellent. Anything else, Gary?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, Nicole, do you have anything?
Sorry, no.
Okay. And I already did my thing by usurping Robert. So we can, I will adjourn the regular session of the city council
Steve,
and
before
ask.
you adjourn, can I ask one question?
Sure.
Okay, Robert, do we have any idea of when the council will come back down to the city hall for our meetings?
That's part of
You reopen
what we're
it?
taking a look at. One of the challenges that we have is to be able to get the social distancing that we need to, how we would array things. My guess is what we'll end up doing is kind of a combination where we have some counselors that I think will be more comfortable to continue to participate remotely. We also have the issue of when we would allow public back in and in what volumes. So what I would anticipate probably occurring is kind of a transitioning period where we have, maybe the mayor, myself, one or two other counselors here where we could be appropriately social distanced, continue to do the broadcasts as we have. And for those counselors that are more comfortable to continue to participate remotely, they can. We have the advantage of the large TV in the council chambers that we can put everybody on that. But I don't want to rush to get us all back in a room too soon. So we're going to be really cautious in how we proceed, and we'll continue kind of a discussion. You know, I had asked the counselors for some individual feedback on comfort level. And again, we have several counselors that are very concerned about putting everybody back in too soon. So it's certain.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any final things? All right, now we're officially adjourned, and I'll ask Brent to let me know when